So breaking this down to the kind of the smallest element, this is how I kind of figured out how to do it or do these calls. So I take this actually off this developer Google's Fetch app. And this was, I think I copied this one. Looks close enough. So we take this over, we dump it into here. Let's make a new file, new script. Call this test one. Sounds good. My function, throw that into there. And then what I do, I might have to copy this from the other one. Let's see, how do I do that? Okay, so I set that to response, and then I take that response and I turn it into JSON. Where did that go? Here we are. So there I'm getting my response, and we've got to give that the right website, but we'll get all that stuff from over here. So let's use this one, get configuration. This one is get configuration from, I forget, elements. Probably going to use this in the other one. I think that's where it's at. Yeah, elements. Get configuration. So yep, that's the endpoint right there. So we will try this, and the element that I want is config. So there's a config PartStudio test. Let's go with that guy. That's all those parts saw earlier. And let's kill this. Kill all of these and make the API call. And now I can see that API call. And really, I don't use this that much. I more look at it over here. So here is, you click on that. Here's what I get back. So I get this information back, and just like that document call that we made earlier, it has some options here, right here with my configurations. So I guess either way it returns the same thing. So now I take these headers, I go down here, view source, snatch up all these headers, and go throw them into here. So my var data, I don't know what that means. Who cares? Now everything on here, well, let me get to it. So method, I like to just clean this up just so I can see what's going on. Access key, method is get. So that's a method that you're telling the generic endpoint to get on its next call. Here's my secret key, base URL. So there's the base URL on the next call. Queries, there's no query, empty. And this is just JSON. You gotta understand JSON. This is an object, it's an empty object. Content type. This is what you're telling next call to do, not the endpoint call. And then here's the path. And that's all that stuff I pulled out and put the paths back together in the other program. There's the actual path that it goes to. And I like to have a little space in here. If you right click, you can say format document. It cleans it up for a little bit for you. So I got all the information. And if we look at this, is going for a post. That endpoint, that generic endpoint, is a get. So we got to say get as a method for that. Go back into, where the hell was I? Go back into here, and we look at where we're sending that to. We're sending it to right here. Click that back there, and we will, whatever this website was, get rid of that. I guess you could have tested their thing first and make sure it works. But there we go. Now we're just going to log this. So we just go logger dot log and response. And we're just gonna run and save at the same time. And there it is. Woohoo! It worked the first time. Oh my God. Amazing. So there's our information. So now we turn this into JSON data. So JSON stringify turns it into a string. Right here we're stringifying that data because this is setting it up as a JSON object that's creating a JSON object in JavaScript. And then this turns it back into a string because we got to send a string in the, basically, that is a string. You got to send the string in the payload. So if we do this, we go here, and we look at that data. I should have looked at it. We can look at it over here. So we know from that data that, where's the data? Sometimes you get confused in what to hit. So we're looking for configuration parameters, and this is an array, so configuration parameter 0. You'll start to understand what I'm talking about once you understand JSON. 0 dot. For now, let's just get the type. That's easy to get. Configuration parameter 0 type, and it should be 105. So I forgot what I said. So that turns it into the response data dot. Let's go ahead and copy this. Configuration parameters 0 type. This gives me 0. That doesn't give me 0. That gives me 0. So it's an array, and I want the first array. Let's make sure that's correct. It's an array. I want the first array, the first object in that array, and I want the type of it. So there we go. We're just going to log that whole thing. And we'll just shut this one off. No, we'll shut this one off, just so we get a little less output. Run and save at the same time and see what happens. So there we go. We got 105 there. We've got 105 there. Now what we want to do is we want to go to this message.options because that's our actual guys there that we want to get. We want to get this. Sorry if I'm not saying the right things, but you'll just start to learn how to kind of find your way through all this stuff. So dot message. So we now go dot message. So now we are there, and then we want to go dot options. And that probably is going to give me an object. Oh, didn't like that. Let's see what the hell we did wrong. Type. Oh, because we got messages. It's not type anymore. Because we're going straight here to type. We want to go to dot message dot options. Is it message or messages? Sometimes it's easy to copy it. All right, so that's what we want. That's all our stuff inside of there. And since this is a object, we could just take all of this stuff and should be able to do this. I think dot map. So I can remember how to map. Callback function. So let's go. I don't think I need to see. I'm not sure. Let's go look how I did it. Yeah, let's just go for it. Function. It's a little different than like normal JavaScript. I think I gotta just do it this way. We can't do those, I'm not sure what they're called, but there's a quicker way in newer JavaScript to do this. So we got that. We're gonna pass, every time we're gonna pass in an option. And let's just log that option and see what happens. So this map function is going through that array. So each option in that array, and it will log all of those. It should. All goes well. Info. I have no idea why I'm getting info. Let's see. All right, so figure this out. So I'm not sure what that type was, but if we go through this and we look at this, and here's all my options. Let's just say type name. Let's look at the type name. That type must have been something for this version of JavaScript. So we're getting the right type name because that's the right type name here and here. So what we want is we want that inner message. So let's take that inner message. What we'll do is we'll take the option of that. Give this a quick format, make everything look pretty. Hit run, and that should give us the names of those. And there we go, we got the names. And actually the option is a name you want to pass it when you encode it. So hopefully that helps more. That's basically how this whole thing is structured, and you make those calls the same way. Again, you're actually making your calls to this, and you're using that as your server, and that's doing all the heavy lifting of sending all this information back through and making sure that everything is correct with all the access keys and the secret keys, and then it passes you back from the get a JSON document, and make a bunch of those calls and you get whatever you want. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.